Well, I've got a story for you today, and I want you to laugh with me. I got a call not too long ago, and the employer said, I think I've got a problem with an employee. I think she's got another job. And I thought to myself, I don't think this is an uncommon question. In fact, I think this is probably what most of companies employing out-of-state workers, remote workers, I think this is probably a question they've questioned themselves on. Is, do I really know what my remote worker is doing? My name is Pandy. And for those of you who don't know me, I've been in human resources for over 40 years. And there are times when people look at me and go, "Oh, well, you've seen everything." No. I can be surprised. I haven't seen or experienced everything. And this particular story is just an example of that. We got together, that employer and I said, "Okay, talk to me. Tell me what's going on and why you're worried about this," because he has the majority of his workers are remote, and the majority, I would say, probably 60% of them are out of state. So he doesn't see them all the time. He doesn't know what they're doing all the time. But this was a little different. I said, "Okay, so why are you questioning this?" And he said, "Well, it's interesting. Her director got a hold of me and said but they set a meeting time and she's not showing up. She literally just blows them off. And when they ask to reschedule, or when another member of the team tries to schedule a time with her, she's too busy. Can't seem to find a time to fit in for them." I said, "Well, that's odd, because was it, how long has this been going on?" And he said, "Well, I'm not really sure. Let me get some more details." I said, "Well, let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper. Also find out what projects she's been responsible for. Find out how responsive and the milestones, how good has she been in getting the work done on time. And it wouldn't hurt to just contact the clients that she's working with and find out if they're happy. Let's see what feedback they've got on her." And let me just say this, though, the response time was absolutely almost instantaneous. He got back with me and said, "Okay, now you got my wheels spinning. I went even deeper than your recommendations." He actually got with the director and said, "Let's talk about the projects that she's working on. How productive has she been?" And in reviewing the numbers, they found out that she had only been 10% productive. So she had only been putting in that she was working like maybe 10% of the day. And this is a 100% billable person. This is somebody who should be working, at least the majority, 90% of her time on these projects. And yet no one had seemed to have caught it. And everyone else seemed to be making up for her lack of presence, whether it's physical or whether it was work produced. The work was getting done, but it wasn't getting done by her. So I said, "Well, this is interesting. How long has that been going on?" And they went back through the records and found out that this individual had not been working 100%, not even the majority of her time, for over 9 months. Now, you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. You mean we were paying her negotiated rate, and she was only producing 10% for us, and we weren't catching this? So we went a little further, and I said, "Okay, yes, it smells like a fish. Yes, we have a problem here." And so they went through her emails. They went back through to try to figure out why, what she was doing with her time. And what they found was that she was corresponding Yes, yes, yes. With her work email, she was corresponding with clients or companies, I should say, companies that weren't even their clients. And then all of a sudden we started finding emails of her previous employer. Do you see where this is going? The meeting with this individual went so much smoother than I expected. I mean, I was totally expecting complete denial and a lot of backtracking, and yet she didn't. She was so open once she realized we had her pinned against the wall to say, well, we have your emails. So tell us why you're emailing your previous employer. Tell us why you're emailing and making comments with companies that we don't even engage with, but we could. They absolutely could be our clients. And it looks very much like they're your clients. And she threw her cards on the table and said, well, you know what? You weren't keeping me busy enough. I had to find work somewhere. So if you're willing to continue paying me, I just went back to my previous employer and he said, yeah, here, you can work on this and work on this. And the woman had been working for one of our competitors and us at the same time for 9 months. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't deserve that. And that's worst case scenario. But what I found out in prepping for this show is that this is so much more prevalent and yet preventable. And that's what I want to talk about. There are things that you can do. There are things that you have the right as an employer to do to be assured that when you're paying somebody, they're 100% yours. They are focused on you. They're focused on your clients. They're earning every dime you pay. Back in February of 2023, there was an article written and posted on overemployed.com. Now, I am not making this up. If you've got a little bit of time, look this up. Overemployed.com. And the article was actually 18 attributes of an effective liar. I'm serious. I can't make this up. This article and several others that I went through were actually instructions posted on the internet on how to deceive an employer. Everything from how to write a resume so it doesn't show necessarily where you're working currently or what you're currently doing, to how to doctor your skills. It was helping you understand how to manipulate your time and conversation so not to stumble and give yourself away. I was in a meeting one afternoon and one employer said, look, I am so nervous about where and what my employees are doing. And I said, you have to trust them until they prove you can't. You have to trust them. Why would you employ them if you can't trust them? And he said, because I was in my backyard at my pool. My daughter was swimming there with her friend who is gainfully employed. But her friend admitted that she was supposed to be at work that afternoon, but she had fixed her computer so that the mouse would move periodically and appear as if she was working, or at least present. And what could I say? I mean, obviously, it's not one of his employees, but at the same time, he had right to say, how many of my employees are doing this to me? So you, on the other hand, are going to be equipped to be a little bit smarter. How many of you are actually checking your LinkedIn sites for each of your employees? And HR, this should be an automatic for you. I cannot tell you how many times I have checked an individual's LinkedIn, and it still has their present employer as present employer. And the company that I'm working with, their new employer, isn't even represented after months. After months of being employed with them, they're still nowhere to be found. Social media is another great place. Have you checked to see, are they wearing somebody else's t-shirt? Are they wearing somebody else's ball cap in their pictures? Is there any kind of indication that they were at a conference or at some dinner with a bunch of other employees from another company? And I know this sounds really over suspicious, but here's the deal. When there's more resources to show people how to deceive you, as an employer, as HR, you have to be 2 steps ahead. And you have the right to just be assured that they're truly your employee and that they're not working behind your back or with another company. So if they're not showing up for meetings, if they're making excuses, if they're backing out of particular meetings. I remember one gentleman, my client actually bought his company out. It wasn't a merge. They completely absorbed all the employees, and his name completely went away. The company was dissolved. And yet, on the signature line of his emails, he left his company name, his /president title, and the website. And I went to the owner of the company and said, wait. What is he doing? Why is he corresponding with your clients under the premise that he's your employee and your representative, and yet his signature line has all this other information which is really supposed to be gone. It's non-existent anymore. And he said, well, I've talked to him about that. And he says it's just really hard to change that. And I get it. He owned his own company for so long. I said, no, wrong. No. The longer you enable that, the longer you tolerate that, there's no reason for him to change. So you're literally asking him to deceive your clients, and you're permitting this bad behavior. He works for you now. You have the right to require that he speak on your behalf with your company name and only to your clients under your company name. Look, if you are under any kind of thought that people aren't lying on their resumes or that people aren't telling you things that they want you to hear, please wake up. It's not happening every day. It really is not happening every day. But it's happening. And I just want you to feel empowered to be able to call them on it. I want you to feel empowered to say, look, I need you to check in with me every day. And when I call, I need you to pick up. If you're not picking up, I'm going to be suspicious. If you're not responding to my emails within a certain period of time, I'm going to wonder why. And I'm going to come and ask you. Don't lower your standards for your out-of-state remote workers than what you have for your interior, your internal, your everyday employees. It doesn't work that way. And trust me, you deserve someone who wants to be working for you. Go look up that website, overemployed.com. I'm telling you, this material is just too easy to find, but yet it's still very important for you. Thanks for listening to The Human Resource.